I'm making it simple. Just to make it simple, I'm going to make it simple for you. Pastor Matt here with the Make It Simple podcast. And we're going to try to make something simple for you today that many of us do not think is simple at all. And that is Christian dating. Christian dating. We have all kinds of beliefs and philosophies on how we are to go about our single life and how we are going to meet the opposite sex and what that looks like and what it should look like according to the scriptures. So we want to make it simple for you. Before we do that, Isaias is here alongside. He heads up our men's house ministry as well as our youth ministry, and he has some insight for us. But before we do that, I'll tell you a little bit of my history in regards to dating. When I met my beautiful wife, I was a Christian. She was not. She didn't even know I was a Christian. And that's the exact thing that God used to break me down, to ask her to come to church, and the rest is history. She gets saved. We live happily ever after, plant the church, and do all these things for Jesus. But I would not say that that's the way to go about doing things, but that's just my story. That's just my story. But Isaias?
It's hard. It is a little bit hard, and I think, you know what makes it kind of hard? The Bible speaks a lot about marriage. It does. But it doesn't speak a lot about the things leading up to marriage.
Yeah.
You know, so when you say Christian dating, you know, is that a thing?
Well, that's you hit the nail right on the head. He said marriage. People that listen to this, they want to turn it right off. They want to say, well, wait a minute, I don't even want to think about marriage. You said dating.
Yeah.
That's something I want to do. But in regards to Christian dating, I think that should always be the first thing on people's minds. Like, why am I doing this? Why am I even going down that path? Why do I want to meet somebody? What's the purpose of this? Because we know the world tells us just to meet some people, you know, get to know some people, spend some time with people, even have physical relations with people, and then you know, you'll eventually find the right one. That's what kind of the world tells us. You'll find out if you're compatible or not, and all these other things. But when it comes to the church and the body of Christ, like you said there's not much in regards to what the Bible says leading up to that. What do you mean by that?
I mean, like, what do you do? I mean, like you said, we're already programmed to think a certain way about what dating is, what we're supposed to do. A woman wants to be pursued, a man wants to pursue. You go on dates, you get to know each other, and we're led to think that could take years, that could take months, that could take so-and-so. But biblically, if you want to do things biblically, it sounds like kind of what you said. I mean, don't do it unless you want to get married, one. And two, it almost sounds like all that stuff is supposed to be part of your marriage, the growing together, the getting to know each other. So it's hard because you don't want to rush into it, but at the same time, you know, you don't want to marry the wrong person either.
Yep. Again, my job here on this podcast is to make it simple. So the only thing we see in regards to getting to know the opposite sex is there was no getting to know them, especially in the Old Testament, until you were married. You kind of your family kind of chose somebody from your tribe or from a background that was, in the Old Testament, obviously Jewish, and they knew the other family. A dowry was paid to make sure that she was protected if something happened to the husband. The girl was protected if something happened to the husband. And you really didn't even know each other that much. You saw each other at family outings and stuff like that, and you were kind of kept apart until your wedding. And then that's when you got to know each other. But the commitment was already made. In regards to the New Testament, you see, the only thing you really see is what Paul says in 1 Corinthians. He doesn't really talk about dating at all. He talks about If you were single and you're divorced, he goes, it's okay to get married again in the Lord. If you're single because you were divorced, he says it's okay to get married again in the Lord, as long as the person knows Jesus. And then he says, if you're a young person and you haven't been with somebody, and he goes, you don't have the gift of singleness, go ahead and get married. Get married. He says, you have not sinned. Go do it. So he doesn't really, there's no addressing of the leading up to that and leading up to dating, and then dating leading up to marriage, and how long it should take. We know the betrothal period was about a year when the families finally came together with that agreement. But you still really didn't date. You didn't date.
But that betrothal period was also more of like let the man get the life ready for the woman, right? But they were already kind of contractually committed.
Correct.
There's so much I want to unpack here. Like, because, let's get vulnerable a little bit. I'm kind of in that mix a little bit, with, you want to get married, but.
So you're saying you're eligible right now?
I guess.
You're on the market, so to speak.
For lack of a better word. But.
Feel bad for you, ladies. It's a terrible market if he's on it, but go ahead.
He's not lying. He's not lying. But the truth is, like, the Bible makes it seem like it's like some sort of unemotional commitment. Like, yeah, you want to love that person, but in the sense of what we consider love today, in the sense of this Disney princess and Prince Charming and swept off her feet. And of course you want to feel that way. Everybody wants to feel that way at some point. But I mean, marriage didn't seem like it was some sort of like emotional attachment thing. It was like, I'm going to take the role of your husband now. You're going to take the role of my wife. And divorce is not an option unless, one of us was caught in adultery.
You're right. It doesn't sound that romantic in regards to the way it played out in the Old Testament and in the New. It doesn't sound that romantic at all. It sounds like it sounds very transactional and contractual.
But what's wrong with that? I'm not saying that's what I want.
There's really nothing wrong with it, because I want to say this, because what happens when we get the cart before the horse and we play the field and we start to date and this and that, people fall for people, and maybe one party falls for the other party a little too much. The other party's not ready to fall for the other party yet, and people get hurt. Feelings happen fast, and people fall fast. They fall in love fast. I think God made us to fall in love fast for a reason. I think he made our bodies to change at a certain time also for a reason.
Sometimes instantly,
Yeah, correct. And you say, well, Pastor Matt, you want, our bodies change at 13, 14. God wants to be married then? Maybe not at 13, 14, but not that much long after.
Back then, though.
Yes, not that much long after. Now, again, I've met 35-year-olds that are not ready for marriage, and I've met 17-year-olds that are, and everything in between, depending on how much of the world and the way that they live their life has gone on in their choices and their decision making. But to make it simple, this is what I always taught my kids, and my kids had the blessing of at least growing up in a Christian home. I taught them the most important thing you can do is believe in Jesus, and the second most important decision you can make is who you're going to marry, and it's got to be someone that loves Jesus. So this is what I tell people when they say, Pastor, man, I don't know if I'm going to find the right one, and how do I know it's God's person and the right one? And this is honestly what I tell people. I make it as simple as possible. Number one, okay? Are you attracted to them? Are they attracted to you? Okay, you say, oh, that shouldn't matter. That shouldn't matter.
People want to act like it
they
doesn't
act
matter.
like it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But you never want to be with somebody in marriage that you feel like you settled for. You know what I mean? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Everybody thinks certain people are attractive, certain people aren't. Some people are attractive to you, some people are attractive to me, and vice versa with every single person in the world and every single person in the church. So you have to have some kind of attraction there. Does it mean they're going to be, a 10.0 every time? No, but in your heart, if this is a person that I can wake up next to for the rest of my life.
Or go to sleep next
to.
Go
to sleep next to, that's just, and that's not bad. That's not evil. And ladies that are watching, you feel the same way too, whether you want to admit it or not.
Absolutely.
You want to know that you're attracted to the person. So when I talk to people, I make it simple. I say, number one, do you check that box? You have attraction to that person. Does that person have attraction to you? Okay, after that, we get real spiritual. Okay? Next, I say, to make it simple, I say, is the person a Christian? That is biblical. Okay? That is biblical. You say, well, Pastor Matt, you just said that your wife wasn't a Christian when you first met and she ended up becoming a Christian. Yes, but there was a lot of heartache in between because I didn't do things God's way. I'm trying to preach to the people here and make it simple for people that are trying to do it God's way to spare you some of the heartache a lot of us go through. So, check the box. Are they a Christian? Are they a Christian? Do they confess Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior? Do they believe that Jesus is the only way to heaven? All right. What do you think my next question would be?
How are they biblical with the money? That's what
All right. So from a girl to a guy.
Yeah.
Your next question needs to be, does he have a job?
Yeah.
Does he have a job? Does he work? Because a husband's calling is to provide and protect. So that is my next question. Number one, are they a Christian? Number two, do they have a job? Do they go to work? Do they do those things? After that, I would say, what do you think the next one would be?
I don't know. There's a lot to pop into my head.
Yep, but go ahead.
So the first one you said was, are they a Christian?
Are they a Christian? Oh, do you have attraction? Are they a Christian? Do they have a job? This is a girl to a guy, yes.
I don't know. Do they want to get married?
Are they even thinking about marriage? Yes, I wouldn't go there just yet. Yeah. But yes, you have to have that on the Richter scale. All right, my next one would be is, do they come to a healthy, well-balanced church?
Okay, I thought we were already assuming they were.
Assuming they were because they were Christians. Yeah. All right, so do they come to a healthy, well-balanced church consistently?
That is such a good point.
Yes.
Because, and I'm not saying by any means people that believe in different doctrines can be, but some churches, and I'm not knocking anybody, but some churches do spit some sort of doctrine out there that if it's not a healthy, well-balanced church, that could cause a lot of issues in the relationship, in the marriage. You're right. Yep. You're absolutely right.
Yep, because inevitably, if one person's a church goer and the other person's not, that other person's going to drag that person out of church. You say,
one person's tithing and one person's not.
Yes.
If one person believes strongly about the LGBT community and the other one doesn't, if one that could cause a lot.
But those are all questions that need to come up.
Yeah.
But the main boxes that need to be checked is, one, is there an attraction? Two, if it's a girl to a guy, does he have a job? Three, does he belong to a healthy, well-balanced church? After that, all those other details are going to come up as you get to know one another. Now, this is where people get hurt, in the get to know one another process. Because I don't care what anybody says, they could say it's not true. As soon as you agree to go on one date with that person,
picturing.
As soon as one person's fallen for the other person a little more than the other one, and even if nothing happened, let's say there's no kissy, no touchy, no feely, which kind of shouldn't happen anyway, but even if there's none of that and they're doing the right thing with their bodies, if one person's fallen for the other person more than the other person, they're going to be hurt.
Yeah.
They're going to be hurt automatically. Well, why did he even go on this date with me if he's not interested in me? And why did she even go with me if she's really not interested? And then, well, we were just feeling each other out. Right?
And then months go by.
Correct. Yeah. And then months go by. Yeah. And then all this stuff. So this is what I say. Keep it simple. Make it simple. Don't go on any dates.
If you can't picture yourself marrying them already.
Correct. Don't go on any dates. Get to know one another in group settings.
I got a question for you.
By the way, that's what we're doing here at the Bond. We're going to start having our youth here and our young adults ministry in this place called the Bond. So it's right next to the church. But go ahead.
This is what the people want to know. How do you meet somebody at a church? Like what's okay? You know, like I almost want to call it Christian flirting. You know, like.
Yeah.
Like, you know,
you're good at that, right?
No. All right. That's why we're having this conversation. No, but seriously, like, what is okay? Because put yourself in the guy's perspective or in a female's perspective. She really likes a guy, and the guy really likes her, but they're like, I can't go ask her. You know, if I ask her out at the church, everybody's gonna know, and then all the other potential people are ruined. And I'm just thinking realistically.
Yeah, and there's all churches of 50 people, churches of 500, churches of 5,000.
Doesn't matter.
So it's all different in the same in the sense how you might rub shoulders with them, but obviously in smaller churches everything's kind of like out there. Everything's kind of like out there. So what I say to people is go to things. Go to things. Go to the young adults. Go to church more than once a week. Be around. Look around. Oh, there's a potential suitor. Look at him. He comes to church every week. He's helping little old ladies out of the car. I mean, what a nice guy. Maybe, maybe not. But then you just keep your eye. Be consistent. Does he go to this? Does he go to that? Is he around? Same thing with a lady. Does she do this? Does she serve? Does she want to help out? All those things. Those are things that we need to be watching. Again, you're not looking for perfection. You're looking to check the major boxes. Am I attracted? Are they a Christian? Do they come to a healthy, well-balanced church? Once those boxes are checked, then you get to know in some group settings. Because the minute you go out with somebody, and let's say you haven't met in any group settings. You haven't met in any group settings. But they check the box of that they're a Christian, because you've noticed that, obviously, because you see them at the altar on their knees before God. And then they check the box of you see them in church every week. And they check the first box of you're attracted, all right? And let's say they notice the other person the same way, all right? But there's been no group settings, no chit-chat, no nothing. And then as soon as you go out with them one time,
it's something.
You hear something that, oh, I didn't know this person was married before. I didn't know this person has a kid. I didn't know this person believes, like from a man to a woman, that she never wants to be a stay-at-home mom. She only wants to be a career person. I didn't know that. Now you're already out together. You're alone. You're looking each other in the eyes. And then one person hears something that says, I can live with that. The other person says, but I can't live with that. But the other person's fallen and the other person hasn't. And then it comes back to the church. Oh, he hurt me. He hurt me. He took me out. I thought he was going to do this. No. You have those little chit-chats in those group settings. You understand what I'm saying?
No, I know exactly what you're saying. Now, what about if the person, the lady or the gentleman that does go out with one person because it didn't work out, and then it didn't work out, and then a month later they went out with somebody else, and then a month later they went out with somebody else. Is that wrong?
I don't want to say it's wrong to go out on dates with people. I'm not saying it's wrong, but I will say you're setting yourself up to be hurt. You're setting yourself up to be hurt.
What about for a bad reputation? Is there such thing?
Well, it could, because some people get hurt. It could have been one date. You just had a cup of coffee together. No one even shook a hand. And the girl could be so hurt because she was falling for the guy and the guy wasn't falling for her. And she's so hurt because she's like, oh, he took me out to coffee and, and then next thing you know, she thought that she was having his baby and getting married. And in his mind, it was like, I'm not even close to that yet. I'm here. But then she could go around and say, he did this, he said that, he came on to me. You know what I mean? Because she feels hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And those things happen all the time. But the more you can meet in group settings together to get to know the person, then what I believe the Bible teaches after that is courtship. Courtship, not dating.
Well, so make that simple.
Courtship is this. Everybody's checked the boxes on both sides. I'm attracted to her. She's attracted to me. Okay? You kind of know that. Okay?
That's a good question, though. Pause that thought for a moment. How do you, let's say you're in a group setting.
Yeah,
and I'm asking this for the audience.
How do you find that out without asking?
Listen, I know my ways, but for the people that don't know, how would you let somebody know?
Ready? Because so-and-so's little friend is going to get back to you and say, oh, she thinks you're an attractive, nice guy. Or vice versa, your friend is going to get to her little friend and say, hey, so-and-so's into you. He thinks you're really pretty.
It does work like that, doesn't it?
It does work like that. People can play it off like, no, it doesn't, but it always happens. So in the group settings, those boxes are checked. Attraction. In the group setting, there's been enough chit-chatty, enough talk, this and that, to know that they love the Lord. In the group setting, there's been enough chit-chat and talk to know that, hey, this person has a job. Hey, this person She wants to either be a stay-at-home mom eventually. We're on the same page with life just by our talks in group settings. And you've checked a lot of boxes. Then you move toward courtship, which is the real Christian dating. That's when you go to the person, you say, hey, we've been talking in a group setting like this for 3, 4, 5 months now. I've been to every young adult, every church service, whatever it was. We talked, hey, what do you think if we started to court? And you throw it right out there and you say, well, what's that mean? Girls get freaked out, people get freaked out. That just sounds so archaic and weird. Really, is it weird? I'm going to tell you why it's not weird. It's not weird because the people that are dating exclusively, that's really what they're doing. What they're doing is courting, but sometimes the dating exclusively doesn't use the terminology of courting, so there's an out. Oh, we were only dating exclusively. Really? Well, when you date exclusively, you fell in love. When you date exclusively, even if you haven't had sex, you want to right away. When you're dating exclusively, you've talked about everything under the sun. Your arm's even around the person, sometimes showing ownership of that person with no commitment. And that's where the problems start. That's where the issues start. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
get married.
So that's where courtship comes in. Yes. So now where courting is, we've made a plan. We've checked all the boxes. We've met together in multiple group settings in church for over a year, in many off-site group settings together. We've gone on young adult trips together or adult whatever together with other adults there. We've hit it off. We've giggled. We laughed. We talked about life. We know we're into each other. Now, when you say you want to move to a courtship, now there's a commitment. Hey, in a year and a half, I want to marry you. I want to marry you. What's that look like? You start to plan your life together. That's what courtship is. And you stay apart and you stay accountable until your wedding day. How that works with being engaged and all that, that is worked into that time frame. But at least that person knows, and vice versa, there's no more games now. I've met the person I agreed to be with, and has agreed to be with me. We've agreed to a courtship. There's no more games. There's no more failing out the process. We're only discussing our future life together. See, that's romantic if you do it God's way.
True.
That's romantic if you do it God's way. Because it's sad. How many people end up hurt just doing the dating thing? They've already fallen for one another. They already show ownership for one another. No, it makes me more crazy than anything else when people are on the phone together like this. To their boyfriend or girlfriend. Where you going? Where you going to be? What's going on? Why didn't you call me? When this and that? How much you make? Blah, blah, blah. And I hear them talking, and then people want to come to me for counseling. They say, Pastor Matt, she hurt me. She did this, and I called to tell her where I was. And is there a way you can do counseling for us? And I'm like, wait a minute. You want me to do compatibility counseling for you.
Not marriage counseling.
Not marriage counseling, compatibility, which you should have already done that before you agreed to date exclusively. You should have met each other in group settings. Now you're dating exclusively, and now you're wondering if we should be together or not because you're hurt or she's hurt. You've got the cart before the horse, and usually those things end with a lot of heartache. Sometimes they end up getting married, but there's still heartache because they're doing the married thing. Where you going? What's going on? How much you make? What's that? You're doing those things before you made a courtship commitment, and that's not right. Those are things you're supposed to find out in the courtship commitment, that those people know that they're committed to one another. So making it real simple. Don't fall for someone with that dating atmosphere if you're not ready to court and eventually within quick period of time get married.
So do you think it's okay to ask the person in this season, what do you expect from me? What do you expect from me?
I think, yes.
Because then I can tell you what I'm not willing to, but what I think is right for us to give each other.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I don't think it's a bad question.
Isaias, I think the best thing is when after people have checked the boxes and met in group settings multiple times, I think the best thing is to be straight up with the other person. Hey, am I a man that you would consider being married to one day and to start the courting process with? What do you think? And just leave it right in her court. And if she comes back and says, I don't know, I don't think so, I'm not ready, then the answer is no.
You saved yourself a lot of heartache.
You saved yourself a lot of heartache.
Might hurt a little now, but a lot less.
Correct.
A lot
You'd
less
rather
later.
rip the Band-Aid off now than rip it off later. Any other questions? Anything you think I'm not touching on?
No, can I say something? One thing too, and it's easier said than done, is I think you should have peace always though in both of. I know that's hard because everybody is instilled with a desire, mostly everybody, desire to be with somebody, to find that person.
Yep.
Nobody wants to be alone. But I mean, we need to trust in God, and having that peace no matter what season you're in, I think it's something that we should always be praying for. And
Yes.
you know what I mean? Because then I think that'll help from rushing in and going on multiple dates and
Yep.
talking to anybody just for attention. And I think praying for that peace is just important.
No, and you do. And it's God's will. It's not good that man should be alone. Again, unless you have the gift of singleness, which Paul says very few and far between have. It's crystal clear.
That might be a choice, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, and you'll have peace if you do things God's way. Doesn't mean it's going to be easy, but doing things and getting to know another person and all these things, and it's not easy. But you'll have peace knowing that you're doing things God's way. You're trying to do things God's way because that's how we want to do things. Listen, there's all kinds of horror stories because we start the wrong way, we do things the wrong way, we get started the wrong way, we bring horror into our marriages because of what we did before our marriage. It doesn't even mean that if everybody does things the exact biblical model, the way I'm throwing it out there, that they're going to have this, blissful marriage. No, they're still going to have problems. Everybody has problems. Paul said in marriage, everybody will have trouble. The Greek word is thalipsis. It means this friction. God puts two people together and he says, all right, you made that commitment, now love one another, and friction's going to happen, and that's just how it is. But at least the commitment's there. But when the friction starts and there's a lack of peace, like you were saying, before the commitment, then that's a problem. God says you make that friction after the commitment because I don't want you running from the commitment, but that's what people try to do. They go way too far with their bodies, with their intimacy, with all those things, and the friction starts, and they think, I'm out, there's no commitment. No. You made a commitment, but you just didn't make it the right way before God, and that's why there's hurt feelings, that's why there's pain, that's why there's all that. We have to do things God's way. God is there to protect us. Doing things His way is a protecting thing for the man and for the woman. I hope that made it simple for you. Here we go. I can't make it any simpler. Check the boxes.
Well, where they make sure they love God, that they're a Christian.
Number one, to do the natural thing for us is what?
Attraction.
Got to have some attraction both ways.
It's true.
And how do you find that out? During the group settings, when the little friend says, oh, so-and-so's into you, what do you think? And then she says, oh, yeah, I'm into her too. Okay? So you know the attraction's there, all right? And most of the time you can even see without the friends getting involved if there's attraction. You know what I mean? But got to have the attraction. Go ahead. Next. Let's see if we pass the test today.
Make sure they're a Christian. Make sure they love God.
Make sure they're a Christian. Make sure they love God. Most important box. Yes. Next.
Make sure that they're doing their things biblically, like finances.
Finances. Girl to a guy. Do they have a job? All right? Do they have a job? Guy to a girl. Does she have a spirit that will follow me? Is she into me enough that you want to follow me? All right? Next box.
Do they go to a Bible-believing church?
Do they go to a healthy, well-balanced church? And then after that, if you want to add other boxes, do they serve? How do they treat people in the church? How do they this? Do you see them losing their temper? All those things. Again, because people can put on a good show, but if you're around them enough in these settings, at least you'll be able to see some of that before you go to the courtship commitment.
That's a good point. Because the Bible doesn't tell us how a boyfriend should be or a girlfriend should be, but it tells you how a husband should be or a wife should be. So you can look for things in those.
Correct.
Yeah, you're right.
Correct. So again, I think honesty is the best policy. Let's say you checked all those boxes, you met in multiple group settings. The next step would be that guy says right to that girl, hey, would I be a person that you'd be interested in courting for marriage? Throw it right out there. Now, they might need a definition. What does courtship mean? And that's when you can get me involved. But, that's at least you put it right out there. Would you be interested in courting me for marriage? And you put it, tear the Band-Aid right off. No games. No nonsense. None of that. That's the simple way. God makes things simple for us. And if we follow his simple paths, we're usually sparing ourselves from a lot of heartache. Because marriage is hard enough. So why make it any harder? Do things his way. Again, this is Pastor Matt and Isaias with the Make It Simple podcast. I hope we made Christian dating or courtship simple for you. God bless you guys.
God bless.